The Undertones with Wednesday Week. Hello, this is Adam and Joe on BBC Six Music on a Saturday morning. What more appropriate track to start a Saturday show with
than Wednesday Week? Exactly. That's vintage Undertones, isn't it?
Is it?
I would say so, because that's got Sharky on it, right? And he's no longer with the band. They've just released a new album, I believe, the Undertones.
Right.
But it's minus Sharky.
Really?
Yeah, it's supposed to be pretty good.
Sharky's Machine.
Yeah, it's no longer Sharky's Machine.
Really? They've switched off Sharky's Machine.
Yeah, they have. Would you invest in an album by a famous band minus the famous lead singer? Have you ever done so?
I'd certainly have to listen critically to it.
Yeah. Like, can you think of any bands that have plodded on without their main asset? The Doors spring to mind. They did a couple of albums after Jim Morrison popped his leather clogs, and they weren't very good. They were very bad. There was an album called Full Circle, which was the better of the two ones that they did, and that was a stinky one. Do you remember that? I played you a track off that years ago. No me moleste mosquito.
I don't remember it. That's
No me
probably
moleste
evidence that it's not
mosquito.
very good. No, there must be an example of a band that's done well, though, mustn't there?
Without their
Hey, maybe
player.
our listeners could help us with that. The only snag is that we're actually on tape this week.
Yeah.
We're not actually here, so listeners, don't text us. Otherwise, you will be wasting your money and we'll get involved in some terrible financial scandal.
Yes, we'll both be electrocuted.
Yeah. We're actually recording this last Wednesday. No? What day is it? Tuesday. Is it? What day is it?
Well, today is Saturday.
Saturday.
But today, as we're speaking, is Wednesday.
There you go. So in a way, that Undertones track was the perfect track to play.
Yeah, we got there eventually.
So coming up in this show, we got great music as usual. We've got some Sly and the Family Stone coming up, a bit of Toots and the Maytals. That's just the first hour. Plus, we'll be playing Text the Nation. But remember, don't text us this week. We're going to be running the segment,
Yeah.
off of emails we got during the week. We'll also be doing Song Wars. It's very complicated because we're on tape. Song Wars, you can vote for it via email.
And you'll find out who wins Song Wars next week,
exactly.
although you'll hear the tracks this week. Don't worry, it'll all become clear as we go along.
Dear.
It's absolutely fine. Now, here's some more music. This is a great band, the Young Knives. I sounded like a very old man there. This is a great band. Well done. They're the Young Knives, and this track is called Terra Firma. Fake brown real steak.
I wasn't listening. I was frightened.
Yeah, that is
I
frightening.
ran and hid.
You know, they didn't used to be so frightening, the Young Knives. They used to be more friendly. I mean,
Did they?
one of them is called House of Lords in the band.
Really? That's his actual name?
Yeah. And, which is a good name, I think. And they were very much a sort of nerd outfit. But now it sounds as if they're furious.
He's called House of Lords.
Yeah.
What's his actual name?
I think House of Lords. I don't know what his actual name is. But,
Wow.
but that he's, it's like being called the Edge. As far as everybody knows.
Well, I tell you, there's a difference between being called the House of Lords and the Edge.
Why?
And no insult to the Young Knives, but you two have been around a while.
Yes.
And they're not going away. What I'd be worried about is if the Young Knives split up, or maybe, they have 10 amazing years, then they have to, fashions change.
Do they?
They have to, they have to rethink their, role in the world. And he's still called the House of Lords.
Right.
That wouldn't be, he couldn't, for instance, be a telephonist. Hello, you're through to John Menzies. This is the House of Lords speaking.
Yeah, that would be confusing. What if he worked at the House of Lords?
Well,
If he was just an MP?
then he'd kind of cancel himself out.
Right.
He wouldn't appear on any kind of
It would be extra
database
confusing, yeah.
because it would confuse the computers.
The Right Honourable House of Lords.
He might end up having a staff of hundreds of cleaners try and enter him. And clean up his insides.
I wish staff of
He might have. You might get arrested
Yeah.
if you protest anywhere near him.
Right.
He would be a listed building, and he might be blown up by terrorists.
But at least he'd get a lovely clean every 25 years or so.
He'd certainly be all scrubbed up
He'd
nice.
get really nicely scrubbed.
When he goes to restaurants,
Oh my goodness.
does he go order? Or what? There's something in there anyway.
Yeah.
Fit that together yourselves. Bye.
Now, later on in the show, we are going to be unveiling our songs from Song Wars. And we should remind you that this time, the theme for Song Wars was it was suggested to us by a listener. Do you have the name of the listener by any chance?
Yes, I do.
Who was it?
Not going to tell you.
Oh, please tell me, man.
It was from Tony Armstrong.
Tony, that's a good name.
Tony J. Armstrong.
Yeah, it's a good, strong
And he lives
name.
in Google Mail,
Does he?
which is a small village in Hampshire.
Uh-huh.
I don't know that he lives in Hampshire, but that's all we know about him, his name. Should we be playing the jingle here?
Well, we could play the jingle when we unveil the songs.
All right, so this is a pre-unveiling.
Yeah, this is a little tease to just sort of set the scene.
Yeah, we asked you listeners to suggest the lyrics for Song Wars this week, and we asked you to get us found text, off the back of a instruction manual, or maybe a, something, a box, a packet, text that you think could never be made to sound passionate and meaningful.
Yeah.
Text that couldn't be used in a song, ever.
Right, so not poems and not stuff from the book.
No, specifically non-poetic texts, instructions, horoscopes, that kind of thing.
Something
functional
deliberately,
text. In fact, horoscopes
prosaic.
is even a bit too meaningful.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And we had an overwhelming response.
I was overwhelmed.
Yeah, if one text was whelming, then we were overwhelmed.
Right.
We got like 3,
Yeah.
not even text emails, and we chose one which we'll reveal later. Ooh. Yeah, we're so good at radio. We know you don't give listeners all the information at once.
Do you not?
You give them the smallest bit possible.
Double T's.
Like little hungry birds. They're waiting for the next old stinky worm.
Now, I think this is your choice, is it not, Joe?
It might be.
Bit of Sly and the Family Stone?
Yeah, this is nice ones. This is Sly and the Family Stones with If You Want Me to Stay, Stones, Stone. They're just giving up there, Sly and the Family Stone. Can't be bothered anymore.
Well, apparently that's what they were like when they were playing live recently.
Really?
Couldn't be bothered a bit of the time, yeah.
Are they still intact?
They're still very much intact, yeah.
Wow.
They were playing a lot of gigs over the summer.
And what happened? They just lost interest and drifted off.
I read a review of one particular gig. I think it was maybe in Brighton, and it was reviewed by several music papers, and all of them said it was one of the worst gigs they'd ever seen. It was so bad. The band was so late, and then they played so badly when they arrived on stage that people were just booing and
Wow.
and yelling, "I want my money
There's a
back."
thin line. Even listening to that, their original stuff, there's a thin line between brilliance and laziness.
Yeah.
And a line that they tread, uniquely.
Right.
They've fallen off of it.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, onto the lazy half. This is Adam and Joe on BBC Six Music. Welcome to our Saturday morning show. It's time to do Song Wars.
It's time for Song Wars, the war of the songs. A couple of tunes by a couple of prongs. Which will you vote for? Which one is the best? We're putting our songs to the listener test, so check it out.
Yeah, that's right. Every week, Joe and myself compose an original song for you, the listeners, and it's based on a theme also suggested by you, our friends, the listeners. And, Joe, remind the listeners what the theme was this time.
The theme this week was... the theme was lyrics that you would never find in a song.
Right.
Found lyrics, saved from the side of a packet of food, or the instruction manual of a new gadget.
Fruit?
What?
Oh, no.
What?
No, there's none. There's none.
Why? You're just talking nonsense now.
Instructions.
Fruit? There's none.
The
Are you having a dream?
Instructions on fruit. I was thinking.
No, there's no fruit. The fruit aren't that complicated.
Some of them
God
should have
made them that
instructions.
way.
Oranges should have instructions. Sorry, carry on, man. I didn't mean to interrupt.
So we asked you to send us some samples of found text that you thought could never make the lyrics to a song. We had a kind of top 3 submissions. One of them was the publishing details on the side of a book that was sent in by David Buchanan from Bristol. He wanted us to write a song to the following. This book is sold subject to the condition that it shall not by way of trade or otherwise be lent, resold, hired out or otherwise circulated without the publisher's prior consent in any form of binding. Oh, you get the idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And would you have done the ISBN number as well, maybe?
That would have been quite a challenge.
Yeah.
We didn't go for David's suggestion.
That was
though.
too difficult.
It was too difficult. We went for this suggestion from Tony Armstrong. Dear sirs, see, that's got us already.
It's nice.
Some
respectful,
respect.
yeah.
I would be most pleased if you could use your jiggery-pokery technical wizardry. You see, he's like a little hobbit. He doesn't understand what we do here. This is our perfect listener. He's awed by the things we do. Yeah. Use your technical wizardry to compose a song celebrating the satanic beauty of Ikea Meatballs.
Huh?
I care not for their cheap, flat-pack furnishings, but find their meatballs simply irresistible, as
These
Robert Palmer once sang.
Right.
Since discovering their addictive charms, I've gained 3 stone. I can eat naught but processed meat produce with a slightly Nordic flavouring. I quote directly from the cooking instructions below, which fortuitously includes a title for your efforts in bold print.
He's got florid writing style there, doesn't he?
Yeah, I like him. It's almost as if the manufacturers of this unholy foodstuff knew this day would come.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they did. You know what? I forgot the bold title.
Right.
I forgot to sing it. But here we go. Here are the lyrics that he's asked us to turn into a song. Heating instructions from Frozen. Place the meatballs in an oven-proof dish and heat at 225 degrees centigrade for about 15 minutes. In a microwave, 700 watts, place the meatballs in a bowl without a lid. Heat at full power level for 4 to 5 minutes. Stir after half the time.
That's all we had to work with, folks. So, would you like to hear the results? Now, this week, rather than playing clips of the songs, we're still, it's only show 3 of our tenure here at the Big British Castle. We're still kind of feeling our way through. So rather than playing short clips, we thought, as we're going to play both songs at the end anyway. We may as well play them right the way through, and you can vote. And don't forget that because we are taping the show this week, you won't find out whose song has been voted as the favourite today.
You'll find out next week.
Exactly. And all you have to do is vote by emailing us.
Don't text.
No, please don't text.
No, don't text.
We wouldn't want to rip you off like that. And the email address is
Adam and Joe, all one word, A-N-D, not an ampersand, .6music, the number 6, not the word 6, and then the word music, at bbc.co.uk. Is that clear?
Yeah, say it all again without all the explanation.
Adam and Joe, .6music at bbc.co.uk.
Bingo. So yes, let's hear the songs right now. You heard those lyrics before. You heard what we had to work with. Now, who wants to go first?
I don't know. I think I'm going to lose. I don't think mine's very good.
Really? Well, I had a tough time. I went through several versions before.
Did you? Well, I didn't, and that's my problem. I went with the first version. And this is it. So play mine first, please, Ben.
Place the meatballs. Place the meatballs. Place those meatballs. Place the meatballs. Place the meatballs. Place the meatballs. Place those meatballs. Place the meatballs.
Place the meatballs in an oven-proof dish and heat at 225 degrees centigrade for about 15 minutes in a microwave at 700 watts. Place the meatballs in a bowl without a lid and heat at full power for 4 to 5 minutes. Stir after half the time. I said, stir the meatballs after half the time. Come on. Place the meatballs, eat the meatballs, stir the meatballs. You love meatballs, we love meatballs. Come on, meatballs.
There we go. So I was really trying to infuse those lyrics with passion.
You really did. You went
and
for the
meaning.
soulful route there.
I was kind of going for a kind of power rock thing.
Yeah.
But I ended up in a sort of Deacon Blue sort of a thing.
I didn't mind it. You know what it reminded me of?
You didn't mind it? That's damning with faint praise.
No, it's not. I didn't mean it to be faint praise damn.
You meant I loved
situation. I didn't mind it. It was good. It reminded me of mid-80s David Bowie.
Yes, that's what I was going for.
Yeah.
In an oven-proof dish.
Stadium Bowie.
Exactly, weird inflections and stuff. Yeah,
you know
Stadium Bowie.
I tried to do Stadium
Glass Spider
Bowie.
era.
Exactly.
Yeah.
His nadir. I tried to do Stadium Bowie as well, funnily enough, because I thought it would suit the whole thing, but my voice just couldn't hack it. And then the other direction I went was Pink Floyd, like acoustic Pink Floyd. And, do it like Roger Waters and put lots of kind of, without a lid.
Can we hear it?
Well, no, I didn't go that direction in the end. The direction I went was kind of like camp New York art punk, a bit like Suicide and
they're a band, right?
Yeah. And someone was talking about the band Bearsuit from Norwich last week. I've been listening to them, and there's a little bit of Bearsuit in there.
I can't take much more of this build. I have to hear it.
Okay, here it goes.
Heating instructions from Frozen. Place the meatballs in an oven-proof dish and heat at 225 centigrade for about 15 minutes in a microwave at 700 meatballs in a bowl without a lid. Heat them at full power level. The meatballs for 4 to 5 minutes. Stir after half the time. Stir them after half the time. In a microwave at 700 watts. Place the meatballs in a bowl without a lid. Meatballs, meatballs, frozen, frozen. Meatballs, meatballs, they're frozen, frozen. Meatballs, meatballs, frozen, frozen. Meatballs, meatballs, they're frozen, frozen. Meatballs, meatballs, frozen, frozen. The meatballs, meatballs. Now they're ready.
What year is it now?
Because so much time has passed, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. I know, it was a
Is
long
it
one.
still 2007?
It was a long one. Yeah, sorry about that.
That's all right.
Yeah.
What's changed in the world?
That was just a proper
No, that
song.
was good, man. That was very good.
No, it wasn't very good.
It was good.
It was.
It was just long.
It was very long.
Draining.
Yeah, I know.
There were lots of gaps. There was lots of negative space.
Well, that's what it's like.
But I'm naive about that school of music,
In
so
the,
I don't have the critical faculties to appreciate it, perhaps.
I don't think anyone would. I think we should move on rapidly. So there are the 2 tracks. You can start voting for them now, although, of course, the winner won't be announced until next week's show.
Yeah, vote by email only. adamandjoe.6music@bbc.co.uk for Adam's song. They're both called Meatballs, so you'd just be voting for Adam's Meatball song, the experimental kind of New York version, right?
Yeah.
Or Joe's Meatball song, the
Stadium Bowie.
Stadium Bowie period Meatball song. That was Weezer with Hash Pipe.
Yeah, disgraceful.
It's just a bad idea to smoke hash browns.
Yeah, why would you do that?
Yeah.
What kind of high would you get from hash browns?
What's in hash browns? Potato?
Mainly potato.
Maybe some bits of onion. Or is
In-
that Bubble and Squeak?
I don't know, maybe I
Certainly shouldn't smoke Bubble and Squeak.
No.
But smoking hash browns is a bad idea as well.
It's terrible.
They'll bung up your pipes,
Yeah, exactly. And
internally and externally.
don't do it, kids. Just ignore the Weezer. This is Adam and Joe here on BBC 6 Music. This is our 3rd show here at the Big British Castle.
We're still finding our feet.
You know, we'll be finding our feet for about 3 more months,
Yeah.
just to let you know. So, you know, bear with us.
Then we'll have an amazing period. That like one show will be amazing.
Yeah, maybe 2 or 3.
2 or 3. Then we'll start on the downward,
On the slow
slippery slope.
decline, exactly.
So you know, that's something to look forward to. Here's a bit more music. This is a band called Editors. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Not the Editors.
Editors.
Only a jerk would call them the Editors.
Where are they from?
Well, they're British.
Are they British?
Yeah, I always have them as Editors in my head because of Zane Lowe.
Zane Lowe. The only person I've ever heard saying their name is Zane Lowe.
Yeah.
Editors.
Editors.
And he says it in. Where's Zane Lowe from?
He's from New Zealand, I think.
There you go.
Yeah.
Editors. So here's the Editors with Racing Rats. That's not. What accent is that?
I don't know.
Here's the Editors with The Racing Rats. This is Adam and Joe on BBC 6 Music. It's Saturday morning. Before that exciting trail, you heard Editors with The Racing Rats. They've titled that song as a kind of man trap for DJs.
Why?
Because there's no "the" on Editors,
Right.
but there is a "the" on The Racing Rats.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're trying to trip us up.
I know, exactly. Like, make your mind up. Do you hate these or not?
Do they hate the word "the"?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you would think that they do hate it.
I actually want to talk to them about that.
You know, he goes out with Edith Bowman, right?
Does he? So we can get to him.
We could get
It's
to him.
perverse. And he's causing a lot of unnecessary anxiety for DJs.
Yeah, exactly. Sort your life out. But what a track. Great track.
What a track. Great track. Yeah, so I wonder if anybody this week watched one of my favourite TV programmes, Dragon's Den.
Hey, man, I watched that.
Did you watch it?
I bet you're going
Now,
to talk about that lady, right?
I'm going to talk about the lady, and I'm assuming that lots of radio stations have talked about the lady. I imagine breakfast shows the next morning were buzzing about the lady. If you didn't see it, folks, Dragon's Den is a show where entrepreneurs come and pitch ideas to some kind of panto-style business entrepreneurs. Millionaires who fly in jets and eat golden toothpaste. Nuggets. Anyway, this week there was a lady who'd written a book called Dance of the Goblins. It was a sort of epic fantasy novel, and she was a sort of a mystic stone-wearing sort of goth lady.
So there was a touch of the Julie T. Wallace from Lives and Loves of a She-Devil.
There was. She had a sort of distant, slightly demented look in her eye, but was that the dementia of genius or the dementia of madness? It was hard to tell.
She was very nervous as well, wasn't she?
She was nervous. Who wouldn't be when faced by those dragons? They're so scary. One of them runs a company that makes pants. That's how scary they are. Anyway, she was very nervous. She'd bought in her book, and basically the entrepreneurial idea she was pitching was to make a movie out of her book. And she decided to circumvent the usual process of filmmaking, going to production companies and studios and writing scripts and all that sort of stuff. She decided to do it all off her own back.
Yeah.
She was just going to go to the Dragons, get some startup capital, and just make the movie completely independently. She was going to produce it. She was gathering together the crew. And amongst the people she'd gathered together was an actor whose name she wouldn't divulge.
That's right. She said it was a famous
top star.
It was a big name actor.
Yeah. She gave two clues as to who this actor... Well, she gave one big clue as to who the actor was. She said he was in Pirates of the Caribbean and Phantom of the Opera. So, I imagine 90% of people watching reached for their laptops.
Yeah.
And went online. Did you, Adam?
Only because I didn't because I couldn't get a...
you didn't have access?
Didn't have no Wi-Fi in the telly room though, John.
Well, I did.
Yeah.
And me and the rest of the country looked at the IMDb for those two films, and it soon became apparent that it's the actor Kevin McNally.
Kevin...
Now, he's not a big star, McNally. No. He's done one or two films, The Spy Who Loved Me, The Long Good Friday. He's been around for a while, but he's not... This woman had pledged him £1 million.
Right.
She said that he was a big star, and he was going to get paid £1 million in gross, profit points.
She said that... Was it profit points, or that was up front though, wasn't it? Because she was saying
profit points.
I think I understood that she was saying to the Dragons, I'm going to need £1.5 million, and £1 million of that is going straight to the actor.
I'm not sure. I can't remember. I think she said it was points.
Because the way I understood it, I thought he was going to get the money up front. That's why they were so outraged.
That would be terrible.
And they were saying, "You're insane. I mean, he must be a really big actor, and you can't even tell us his name." And I was thinking, this guy, whoever he is,
McNally. So my questions are: first of all, the interesting thing was by the next day, Kevin McNally's Wikipedia entry had been updated.
Oh, really?
With his involvement in Dance of the Goblins.
Yeah.
That's pretty good for Wikipedia, isn't it?
Yeah.
Also, I think sales of Dance of the Goblins must have gone up.
Surely.
And I'm now quite interested in seeing the film.
Yeah.
I think the country's quite interested in seeing the film.
Well, that's exactly what my wife said. She said, wouldn't it be great if she made the film, it turned out to be an absolute smash, and the
Dragons were sussed.
Yeah, the Dragons were sussed, and that clip would haunt them for the rest of their lives, the way they treated her.
Mm-hmm. Well, there are already things that the Dragons have poo-pooed, that they've plop-plopped, pop-popped, have gone on to be smash hits.
Right.
Like the man who made the fan of wedges for restaurant tables. A wobbly cafe table.
Oh, yeah.
And you have a little fan of wedges.
Brilliant.
But he's now a multi-pounder.
Is he?
Yeah.
Genius. Rasta pasta?
Anyway, Kevin McNally, what are you playing at?
Right.
He's going round, making deals with kind of amateurs, raising their hopes unnecessarily.
What I was thinking is because...
You know what I was thinking?
What?
You could do the same.
Well...
You've had small parts in Stardust and Hot Fuzz and Son of Rambo, as yet unreleased. You could start doing that.
I think every actor is approached to be in all kinds of projects, and generally you would say yes, and especially if it's a small production, you would do everything within your power to help them out, you know what I mean? But I was thinking, but if you're approached for something that you don't necessarily want to be in, one good way of getting out of it is by inflating your price ludicrously. And I bet you he was thinking, man, I'm I'm going to price myself out of this.
Well, it's
situation.
backfired, hasn't he?
It
Because
seems
now
to have
everyone
done.
reckons he's the star of Dance of the Gnomes. Hey, listen, here's a track chosen by Adam. This has been a long link, so we better tell you about this track after it. But who's this by?
This is by a band called 17 Evergreen, and I really hope you enjoyed it. Sounds very much like Stephen Malkmus, but none the worse for that. It's called Haven't Been Yourself Lately.
Nice and mellow.
It's Outcast with Prototype. If you were going out with Big Boy or Andre 3000, and he said that to you, that you might not be the one, but even if you're not the one, you're the prototype.
Right.
Would you be flattered by that as a woman?
Yeah.
Yeah?
He's good looking. Both of those guys are good looking.
Yeah, but he's saying he might chuck you for something similar to you, but maybe with one or two improvements.
It's good enough, man.
It's good enough, isn't it?
Yeah, you get your go.
Yeah.
What's
you've
wrong?
yeah, exactly.
Before that, you heard a track that I chose for you called called Haven't Been Yourself Lately by a band called 17 Evergreen. That was also a nice laid-back track for a Saturday morning. And incidentally, if you can be bothered, there's a great video for that track on YouTube. Just type in 17 Evergreen, you should find it, by a video-making outfit called Encyclopedia Pictura. And you should check out their website as well, because their stuff is amazing. It's mind-blowing. They've got
check it out,
a
yeah?
truly individual video-making style.
Now,
I talk like a young person. Have you noticed that?
I don't understand what you're saying, Adam. I'm frightened of you. I think you're going to stab me or download me.
I will be if you diss my
Chips.
Yeah.
Okay, it's time to go back in time now to 1984, the year of Big Brother,
No.
George Orwell, and all that kind of business.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this is a session track by the Smiths. Have you heard of the Smiths?
Never heard of them.
They've got a sort of a grumpy lead singer with a quiff that lives in LA called
Right.
Morrissey. Lots of Japanese girls really fancy him. And this is a track called How Soon Is Now, and it was recorded for the Peel Sessions on Radio 1 on the 1st of August, 1984.
BBC Music. Classic BBC session track.
She said slash podcasts.
She's a naughty lady. This is Adam and Joe on BBC Six Music. Before that trail, you heard the Smiths with a session track recorded for John Peel on the 1st of August 1984 called How Soon Is Now. You might have heard that before. It's one of their big smasheroons. It was used on a jeans advert. I think.
Yeah. Well, when that track was out, I remember when we were at school, that was a favourite track of some of the Bully Boys.
Well, you know, the Bully Boys bullied me, but I bought that track on
Yeah.
12-inch.
Yeah.
Maybe to show that I was cool as well.
You know, bullies often like good music.
Well, bullies are conflicted, aren't they?
Yeah.
They're not angry with you. They're angry with themselves.
You know, because the Nazis, they were into some good music.
Were they?
Yeah, Wagner, that kind of stuff.
Fair enough.
It's good stuff, but they were bullies. You know?
What's your point?
I don't know. Also, I remember some of the bullies at school used to be into music that I scorned at the time, and now I love it.
Jesus and Mary Chain?
Actually, I never got into the Jesus and Mary chain. I was thinking mainly of Van Morrison, some of the hippie bullies.
Oh, they weren't bullies. They were just confused.
They bullied
They
me.
were just tired.
They were bullying me.
They were overtired. There's a difference between being a bully and being overtired,
That's
because
true,
you've
isn't
been
it?
up late listening to hippie music, smoking rollies.
Nation's favourite feature.
Yes, please.
Text the nation. Text the nation.
What if I don't want to?
Text the nation.
But I'm using email. Is that a problem?
It doesn't matter, text.
Oh, that's got the stench of tea time about it.
What are you talking about?
It sounds like something from 15 to 1.
Yeah, that's true.
Or Can I Have a Pee Please, Bob? What was that called? Blockbusters.
Blockbuster.
It sounds, you know, a sort of like a tea time sound. Tea time quiz sound.
Yeah.
Which is appropriate because it is a sort of a tea time quiz, because it's Saturday morning, time for tea, and it's a quiz. But it's not a quiz.
It's not a quiz. It's in no way a quiz or a competition of any
No, that's
kind.
true, that's true.
Because if it were, we would immediately be vaporized.
And in fact, the other inaccuracy about it is we're not asking you to text this week, because this show's pre-recorded. Shh, don't tell anyone who's just tuned in.
Yeah.
Because they can believe that it's live. But it's actually pre-recorded, and we simply will not receive your texts.
No, it's a temporal impossibility. Do you know what I mean? Unless you had invented some kind of time shifting device.
It's possible with our caliber of listeners.
Yeah.
But you know, we set this feature up in last week's show. We asked you to send us in examples of childhood misconceptions, things that you got wrong about the world when you were a little kid, right? Mm-hmm. Adam, you were talking about how you believed until quite recently that Concorde travelled at the speed of light.
Not until quite recently.
Well, how recently?
Well, I was in my teens. And I was around 14, still believing that Concorde travels at the speed of light.
Yeah.
Which was a little humiliating, and I got in an argument and was, of course, sussed all over the shop about it because it travels it travelled at the speed of sound.
I believed when I was a kid that Bob Dylan and Dylan Thomas were the same people.
Yeah. Well,
Which that's not that far-fetched, is it? They're both kind of shambolic, crazy-haired poets.
I think
My parents had a 7-inch of a Bob Dylan
Yeah.
poem. No, you see, it's still happening.
Yeah.
My parents had a 7-inch of a Dylan Thomas poem, so I assumed that he was a singer.
Right.
Bob Dylan, Dylan Thomas, easy mistake to make. I thought that temping agencies distributed tampons.
Right.
Tampon, temping. I thought that the girl on the Kelly Girl advert on the side of the bus walking confidently down a street in a trouser suit jacket was confident because she was well padded
Nice.
on her under areas. And these are just examples, listeners. When my mum took me for the first time to Wimbledon Common, I was terrified that I'd encounter a womble.
Terrified?
Yeah,
Not
terrified.
excited?
Well, I had no idea how big they'd be.
Yes.
Because on the telly, they're the size of giant people. It just blew my mind because I was literally expecting a womble, and I thought, well, will it really be all felty or,
Had you not seen them on Top of the Pops playing Remember
yes,
You're a Womble?
yes. Therefore, I believed they existed.
Okay.
I just didn't understand what they'd be like
Yeah.
because I knew that when adults turned animals into children's things, they made them soft and cuddly. So I thought, what would a real womble be
Oh, I
like?
see, yeah.
Like scaly and
Its stinking
vicious,
breath, its coarse
collecting
hair.
rubbish. As everyone knows, wombles are actually just tramps
Yeah.
who collect rubbish.
Eco-tramps, man. They were way ahead of the curve
Exactly.
with the eco
So anyway,
message.
thank you to everybody who's emailed in over the last week with their childhood misconceptions. Do you want a couple here from our listeners, Adam?
Yeah, I'd love to hear some.
Okay, this is from Rachel Kiddie. She says, Dear Adam and Joe, when I was 24, I was in the doctor's surgery waiting room when a little boy came up to me and asked what was wrong. I said I had the flu. I asked him what was wrong with him, and he said he had German measles. I laughed at his sweet little mispronunciation and kindly informed him that he'd meant to say germs and measles. His mum then shook her head gently and told me that no, he was right. I thought germs and measles made much more sense, as in, I've got germs and measles and all sorts. Ooh, I'm in a terrible way.
I got German measles,
24 she was.
24.
That's pretty good, Rachel.
That's great.
Here's another one. Hello, Adam. Hello, Joe. This is from Scott Spencer. When I was around 6 years old, I was taken to the park by my slightly older uncles. The three of them must have been between 11 and 16 years old. For an impressionable child like myself, this was a very exciting experience. It was the first time I'd been in the park after dark, unaccompanied by an adult. In the park, we met a group of my uncle's friends who were introduced to me as Dex's Midnight Runners. I'll spare you the details, but we messed about and did the kinds of things you'd expect kids to get up to in a park at night with no adults around. From this point on, I was convinced I'd met Dex's Midnight Runners in the park at the end of my road. Whenever anybody mentioned Dexys, I'd relate the story of how I'd met them. It seemed to me totally credible. To back this up, they did live kind of locally to me in Birmingham. It was dark, but I'm sure they were wearing dungarees. It wasn't until I was well into my 20s that I began to question the truthfulness of my introduction. Yam my uncles had given me. I began to doubt it was Dexy's Midnight Runners that I'd met that night. There you go.
Well, is he absolutely sure it wasn't?
Well, I think it probably couldn't have been, right? I don't know. When he was around 6, he doesn't tell us how old he is now.
That's a strange lie to tell to a child.
No, it's just the kind of thing you would... I can see that happening.
Yeah.
Because as adults, you're perfectly comfortable with speaking in terms of analogy and metaphor and just
Right.
introducing a friend as, oh, this is Margaret
Superman.
Thatcher. Yeah, Superman. As a kid, what? Superman? That's good. So there's a couple. We've got lots more coming up, but maybe we should have some music first.
Yes, this is a track from the Go Team. It's called Wrath of Maris, and it's out on the 26th of November. It's from their album Proof of Youth. Check it out. They sound like a kind of charming youth orchestra, don't they, the Go Team?
Yeah, that was the Go Team with a track called Wrath of Maris. I've noticed something pop culturally, Adam.
What?
And it's something I am calling primary school chic.
Right.
Yeah? I've coined that phrase.
Yeah.
And it's spreading through the media like wildfire. It's evident in that Go Team track. It's also evident in almost every commercial on TV.
Yeah.
The latest thing seems to be to get a group of trendily dressed young adults mixed with children and have them engaged in some kind of street art, kind of collective art performance.
Oh, yeah.
Like there's one advert where a whole bunch of people roll multicoloured ribbons out of windows and down streets. You seen that one?
Seen that one.
There's the orange ones where the stupid gypsy mental woman does the sort of cardboard cutout caravan show. Have you seen that one? With like clouds on strings. There's another one where a whole family of idiots create giant telephones out of furniture and stuff. Have you seen that one?
Yeah.
And there's another one. But this, like, all adverts seem to be about, like, community groups getting together and doing something kind of fey and arty and pointless in the streets.
There's some idents for Channel 5 where they shoot them from above and it's loads of people making the shape of, like, a person walking along. You know what I mean? They're all holding
It's all
hands.
about working together. It's all about the environment, all these key buzzwords. And it's also about buying stupid rubbish.
Right.
Mainly buying rubbish. But, it would be wrong for me to, include the Go Team in that kind of thing, because they're not a cynical bunch of advertisers. They're artists.
Exactly.
And they've merely been purloined by that dreadful advertising movement. But there we go. The Go Team with Wrath of Maris. This is Adam and Joe on BBC Six Music. It's time for some more music, this time from the Pigeon Detectives. This is called I Found Out.
That's being re-released on the 12th of November, because the first time it came out, you idiots didn't realise that it was amazing. It just totally went in one ear and out the other. But in the interim, you found out that
You're being given a second chance by record buying public. Think yourselves lucky.
Yeah, this is your last chance.
If you don't make it a hit now, then it's just your stupid fault.
Do you think, have bands re-released singles more than once?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, very, very famous ones have.
Yeah, I guess, like after years and years.
But you mean it as an attempt to make it into a hit?
Yeah.
A band that just will not give up.
Like,
they won't accept the truth.
Every 3 months they just re-release the same song.
The same song. Why not just use that as an approach to the whole industry? Come on, public. The adverts would just get bigger and bigger.
Yeah.
Marketing spend larger and larger.
They should do that with films. I guess it's not financially practical, is it?
No. It isn't. But there we go. The Pigeon Detectives, they've had a brilliant summer. Loads of smashing performances at festivals. That's a word young people use, isn't it? Smashing.
Smashing, yes, they do.
Yeah, and they've done really well, and well done and all that stuff. Now we're in the middle of Text the Nation, even though we're not accepting texts, only emails. And the subject this week has been misconceptions as a child, things that you kind of got wrong-headed when you were a kid.
A couple of the ones that I had, I've talked about this before, but the phrase going through it with a fine-tooth comb.
Yeah.
Now, I, like many people,
Is this to do with toothed and tooth?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like many
Is that a
people,
misconception or just something you didn't sort of know the truth about? Same thing, really.
Well, I thought I thought it was a fine tooth comb. Do you know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
And
what's a tooth comb?
Yeah, it's like, why do you need a comb for your teeth? And many people still say it today. I'm going through it with a fine tooth comb. Really?
Mm-hmm.
You're using a tooth comb there. And of course the real phrase is, it's a fine toothed comb, yeah. Toothed.
Here's one from Matt Garner. Thanks for emailing, Matt. He says, hey, good to hear you back on the radio.
Hey, thanks, Matt.
Hey. I just heard your plea for misconceptions for next week's show, and this isn't one of my... I don't know why I'm reading your email in this voice, Matt. I'm going to continue. It's not one of my own, but I can pass on something my wife let slip the other day. I'm going to stop the voice now. It was only when watching a recent Nigella Lawson TV programme in which La Lawson made honeycomb as a gift for the hosts of a dinner party she was to attend that my wife realised that honeycomb, of the type one finds in crunchy bars, etc., is not in actual fact a bee-derived product. Apparently, she had wondered how the bees made it so small. That's good. Now, if I caught my girlfriend making a miss whatever it is conception like that, I'd be very happy. But somehow for one's wife to do it, to be married and for that to happen, that must be extra brilliant.
Yeah.
That must be quite a good, get a bit of ammunition.
Exactly. You can get a couple of years of teasing out of that.
Exactly.
Another one that I had when I was younger was, I lived in Wales for a time, okay? And in the morning, we would all say the Lord's Prayer. Our Father, who art in heaven.
At school, you mean?
Yeah.
Not in your house?
No, at school.
You weren't like Carrie White.
No, I wasn't. And we would all say the Lord's Prayer, and it would be, mainly in a Welsh accent because most of the students were Welsh. And so, Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. And
Is that Welsh?
And yes. And the head boy at that point in this little primary school where I was called Aled, right? And I thought that we were saying, Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Because I was like, whoever gets to be head boy, they get their name inserted into the Lord's Prayer.
Wow.
For like massive Jesus props. And I was thinking, I wish that was me. I wish I could be head boy. Our Father who art in heaven, Adam be thy name. Yeah. Thy kingdom come. I was thinking, then I'd be the king. And of course I was gutted to find out that it was no such thing. It was always
Wow.
hallowed.
So it's actually saying that would be God's name, isn't it?
yeah, it was
So
basically...
you thought that God took the name of whoever the head boy of...
yeah,
school
or the head boy becomes divine in some way.
Wow.
Rob lived in a box.
Wow, that's amazing.
That was the Teardrop Explodes with Reward. This
Yeah.
Adam and Joe on BBC Six Music.
That's just got me all fired up.
It was exciting. They're a great band.
Yeah.
And what a terrific name.
Uh-huh.
Capturing a tiny moment there.
It was from a comic book, wasn't it?
Was
I
it?
think? Yeah.
Ah, brilliant.
Anyway, there you go. This is Adam and Joe here on Six Music from the Big British Castle, the BBC.
Yes, it's our new Saturday morning show. Now, if you're podcast fans, maybe you listened to one of the podcasts we did for previous bad radio stations, then we should let you know that we are working on doing a podcast of this show. We're talking to people at BBC Worldwide. It will be a free podcast, and at the moment we're thinking about doing kind of like a fortnightly digest, right?
Yeah, I think that's the idea. Like a digest, but with extra new stuff as well.
Yeah, it'll have new stuff in it, but, be patient because the longer we leave it, the higher quality it'll be.
The more nutritious it'll be.
Exactly. Now, we're in the middle of Text the Nation, which this week, of course, is Email the Nation, as this show is pre-recorded. But just pretend it's live, it's fine. And we were asking you for your childhood misconceptions, stuff that you believed as a child that you now realise was stupid. Are you ready for some more, Adam?
Yes, please.
Yes, please. This is from Imogen in Cambridge. She says she's a long-time Adam and Joe Show podcast listener.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear
Nice,
that.
isn't it? Childhood misconceptions. My sister used to get confused between Michael Jackson and John Major.
Michael Jackson and John Major.
I think the reason was they both have J and M in the initials. She said that she must have been at least under 10 because the Prime Minister was still John Major during that time.
That's very bizarre.
Isn't it strange? Do you know who I think John Major looks very like?
Who?
Mark Hamill.
You're right.
If there was a film and you needed kind of like a young John Major, it doesn't work time because they're probably about similar ages, probably.
Yeah.
But Mark Hamill would have been a brilliant choice in the late 70s to play a young John Major.
That's true. Well, are you talking pre or post car crash, Mark Hamill?
Well, the car crash happened between Star Wars and Empire, didn't it?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, so well, I don't know, because part of the thing is the top lip that makes him look like John Major, and maybe that was slightly damaged in the crash.
Yeah, there you
So
go.
I don't know there, Adam.
Oh, so...
Interesting little point there. Here's another one. Youthful misconceptions. A friend of mine, Lucy, this is from Andrew Davey in Chester. A friend of mine, Lucy, got a song lyric very wrong. When they were young, they thought that a particular song had the lyrics, "It's my party and I'll cry if you want me to." As a result, she would go up to her friends at parties and say, "Would you like me to cry?" because she thought it might be etiquette.
No, she did not. I don't believe that one. Do you?
Don't know. Read it out, didn't I? Here's one from Simon. Hello. When I was young and lived in West Bromwich, I used to get confused whenever my auntie said she was going to the market in Walsall. I always thought she was going to Warsaw in Poland instead.
You know, I used to have a tough time with when people would say when, and I didn't understand if I was supposed to say, "That's fine, thank you," or if I was supposed to actually say, "when."
Right.
Because I was thinking, like, why you wouldn't say the actual word "when," because that doesn't make any sense. But what? So sometimes I would just not say anything until, like, and people would just carry on saying, "Say when." You know what I mean?
Yeah. Tricky situation there. We got some quite strange ones, to be honest.
Yeah.
Craig in Redhill says, I used to think that dilute to taste on the side of squash bottles meant that it went out of date in July. That's just a complete non sequitur.
Dilute to taste.
John Packham from Hartlepool says, up until the age of 34, I believe that if I unscrewed my belly button, my bum would fall off. But you know what? They're just silly, those ones.
Yeah, they're
And I'm not going to
ludicrous.
read them out.
Well done.
Thank you. All right, it's time for more music. This is one of your choices, Adam, isn't it, Mr. Clarinet? What is this? Some kind of new children's record?
Well, no, we were talking about music that the Bullies enjoyed earlier on.
Right.
This was one that the Bullies loved. They loved the birthday party. That was Nick Cave's, one of Nick Cave's early bands, if not his first band. And this is a track that I came to very late on in life. Only just heard it, well, a couple of years ago, actually, on one of the Rough Trade box sets. But it's a smash. Hope you enjoy it. It's called Mr. Clarinet by the Birthday Party. It's gone a bit nutty there at the end.
Someone was trying to kick-start a moped during that, weren't they?
It's kind of an enjoyable gothic cacophony there from Nick Cave and the Birthday Party. Certainly one of the songs that made me into a caveman.
Yeah?
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay then.
This is Adam and Joe on BBC Six Music. It's our Saturday morning show. We're going to wrap up our Text the Nation, which of course it isn't Text the Nation this week because we're reading emails that you sent to us during the week. Here's one from Bill, who's aged 37 and a half, in Derby in the UK. And this, Adam, is, I think, a misconception that you had until very recently.
One of many.
Hi, lads. One of mine was that I didn't realise that the Republic of Ireland was not a part of the UK until I was about 20. That's a badly constructed sentence with hilarious ambiguity, but I can't be bothered to rewrite it. You know what I mean, though. The realisation that it was an entirely separate political entity really twisted my box up. I just never thought to question it. It was obviously part of the UK. It's part of the British Isles, after all. Now, I believe that you had some Ireland problems as well.
No, I did. I think
Because we had a bit of an argument about it on a plane once.
Did we?
Yeah, luckily there was someone there to back me up.
I've screened that one out of my memory box.
I think it was either that you thought the whole of Ireland was British. That's right. I don't think you realised that Ireland was its own country, its own nation state.
Is it absolutely necessary to bring this up?
Yeah, because you know, some little bit of me is really happy.
Yeah, of course.
It's getting its revenge.
Oh my god.
Oh my god. So there we go. Here's another one. That one's a bit tricky. I don't think I can read that out. It's to do with the disease AIDS and a misconception about that, and it's just not fluffy enough for a Saturday morning.
You can't say that.
All right, then. Dear Adam and Joe, as a young child in the late 80s, I was undoubtedly not alone in being scared witless by the television campaign for AIDS awareness. Obviously, there's nothing funny about the AIDS virus, but it's likely that a few others misunderstood the information supplied to safeguard oneself against the disease in the same way that I did. As I remember, a lot of emphasis was placed on the possibility of transferring the illness by sharing a toothbrush. However, at the time, I understood this to mean that by sharing a toothbrush, you created the virus. I remember being at cub camp and jumping onto the back of a fellow cub who had accidentally picked up my toothbrush thinking it was his. He thought it would be fun to hold onto the toothbrush and keep it out of my reach. I thought I was saving him from the AIDS virus. As I hung on and tried to grab back my toothbrush, the little legs of my fellow cub gave way. He fell. His face collided with the communal sink of the cub camp toilets. Well, he went to hospital to have the retina reattached to his left eye.
No.
Akela and me had a little chat about AIDS.
Akela.
And about how I had done little to protect the health of my friend. That's from Peter Green in Saffron Walden.
Peter Green from Fleetwood Mac. Notice how I just, I didn't make a big deal out of the fact that you didn't know how to pronounce Arkela. I just glossed over it.
That's a person's name, though. It could be pronounced the way I said it.
No, it couldn't. There's no possible way.
He's got a little PS, though, as well here. He says that, as a child, I thought that Roy Castle of kids' TV programme Record Breakers and celebrated trumpet player had lost his hair because he blew his trumpet too hard.
Well, that might be true. But the whole toothbrush sharing thing, I don't think you can get AIDS from sharing a toothbrush anyway. So he was wrong on all those counts. But my commiserations, especially to the chap who lost his retina.
You sound proud that you can confidently say he's wrong.
Yeah.
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 Good.
Well, am I going to find out that you can get it from sharing a toothbrush?
No, you're right. It's wrong. That is definitely wrong.
Okay.
A couple more, or is that it?
Yeah, go on. Hit me with one more.
Okay. Hi, Adam and Joe. This is from Dawn Wilson, from Western Australia, brackets, the home of evil.
Why is it
Not sure why she's put that in, but there we go. I remember as a child looking at photographs of the Earth from space and imagining that we lived inside it, and that the outer edge of the sphere, which I now know to be the Earth's surface, was the sky that we look up at.
Yeah.
This memory came flooding back to me the other day when my 7-year-old daughter commented that we live inside the Earth when she looked at a globe of the world. That seems to me quite a lovely misconception.
Yeah, that is. That's nice and poetic.
Of a dreamer.
Oh, she's saying that it's the home of evil because last week we were talking about me doing the Australian satanic preacher guy.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, there you go.
There you go. So that's a lovely one, Dawn and Robert, which one of you thought that. Dawn, thanks for sending that in, and thanks to everybody who texted us with their childhood misconceptions. No, didn't text us, emailed us during the week. We'll have another superb Text the Nation next week.
Yeah, we're going to let you know what the subject is before the end of this show, so you can start getting your...
I said it was superb.
Well, what's wrong with superb?
That's the kind of thing DJs do, isn't it? They call their own segment superb.
Listen.
It's acceptable on the radio, that kind of casual, wrong self-aggrandizement.
We'll
have another disastrous, kind of stumbly Text the Nation next week.
Gotta big up yourself, man. That's what it's all about. Right, what have we got now?
We've got a new band. We think they're new because we haven't heard of them. They're called Las Vegas, a brilliant conjunction of Glasgow and Vegas.
Yeah, exactly, because the lead singer feels that the Glaswegian accent has its own kind of Hollywood poetry.
Glamour.
You know?
Yeah.
And glamour.
This is a track called Daddy's Gone.
Neat, neat, neat by The Damned there. This is Adam and Joe here on BBC 6 Music.
Man, this morning we're playing nothing but music that was listened to by people we didn't like when we were young.
That's true. That was another favourite with the bullies, wasn't it?
Yeah, with the naughty bullies.
And their winkle picker shoes.
Yeah, Adam and I were sort of soft theatrical types at school, and our lives were made a misery by tougher kids.
Mainly your life, actually.
Mainly my life, yeah, who smoked and wore winkle pickers and listened to scary music. Yeah.
And they've all turned out to be very nice, though. That's the thing about bullies, you know, is that if you just give them about 10 years, they generally shape up.
Yeah, exactly. They're upset with themselves more than they are you.
Yeah, that's right.
That's what I didn't realise at the time. Listen, 2 more quick childhood misconceptions, all right? 2 more quick ones.
Yeah, this is from our Text the Nation feature. And, yeah, let's polish it off with these 2.
Yeah? Okay, this is from Michael Smith in Norwich. He says, I was watching Police Academy the other day, and for the first time ever, I realised that Sergeant Lavelle Jones, the actor Michael Winslow, doesn't actually do all of those crazy sound effects from out of his mouth.
Wait a second.
Well, exactly. I felt broken. I'm not sure about it, though. Maybe he really did. Did he? Thanks, Michael Smith. So this isn't a childhood misconception. This is something that Michael and Adam Buxton are still struggling with. Did Sergeant Lavelle Jones from Police Academy really make those noises?
Well, obviously, yes.
Why? Because you think that if he didn't, it would just be cheating?
Well, yes. What's the point otherwise?
Well, you could equally say, like, what's the point in pretending that, David Copperfield made the Statue of Liberty disappear if it didn't?
It's a bit different. Come on. If the guy's whole stock in trade is the fact that he can mangle his voice to make amazing sounds.
What if they discovered there was an actor with this capability? They wrote him into the script, but then to make some plot points work, he had to do some sounds that he couldn't actually do. So in early scenes, he's really doing them. But by the climax of the film, when it comes down to gunshots to chase the gangs away, remember?
Yeah.
Or megaphone, feedback, maybe they pop some Foley in.
I mean, it's true, obviously, that they would have had to re-record a lot of stuff anyway because they couldn't have used the original sound. But I would think that
it would still be him making the noises.
Exactly,
in an ADR booth.
That's right. You can't fake that kind of stuff. The Police Academy scandal. That would take the whole franchise down. Surely.
We can't answer that for you, Michael.
Get Ofcom on that one.
I would say, in my long experience in the movie business, having made all the films I have, I would say that it's probably a mix of the 2.
Mix of the 2. Well, listen.
I wouldn't put it past them.
Who is that message from?
Michael Smith in Norwich.
Listen, Mike, I'm with you. I'm heartbroken.
There's his number, actually.
I'm going to,
give him a call.
Give you a call. We'll chat
about it. Have a drink and cry together. Here's another quick one. This is from Dawn Wilson. Oh, no, hang on. It's the wrong one.
Don't read Dawn Wilson's one.
That was again. Here we go.
Entirely pornographic.
Ross in Edinburgh. He says, on my first day in college, at the age of 20, we were shown into a lecture theatre designed in the late 1970s. The carpet didn't stop at the edge of the floor, but went up the walls as well. I was just about to blurt out to my new friends that this must be what they mean by wall-to-wall carpeting, a phrase I'd heard as a child and never understood.
That's fair
enough. The misconception had remained unchallenged in my brain for all those years.
I'll tell you one final misconception from me, right? This was quite a humiliating one. Until I was about 13, or maybe 14 again. 14 was a momentous year. A lot of things were explained to me, finally. But I believed that it was possible for adults to procreate via asexual reproduction as well as sexual reproduction, i.e.
fertilize themselves.
Exactly. So it was the choice of every woman whether she would reproduce
this is
with
quite
another
a big
person.
one to deal onto the table with.
Or she could just, if she wanted to have a baby, she could just concentrate really hard and then she'd get one.
Okay, that's the cliffhanger. We're going to have some music by the Zombies, She's Not There, and we'll come back to your mad misconception.
That was yet another favourite of the tough chaps when we were at school.
The Tough Chaps. That was the Psychedelic Furs with President Gas. This is Adam and Joe on BBC Six Music. President Gas.
I know, that's, a president that's been eating badly.
He's got gas. He talks nothing but gas.
Exactly.
He's only interested in gas, which is American for fuel, which is oil. That's all they care about.
That's right.
Psychedelic Furs, hitting the nail on the head there.
Absolutely. That's my little
that was very good.
impression of Rick Buckler.
Now, before the top of the hour, listeners, Adam revealed an extraordinary fact that up until the age of 14, he believed that women were capable of asexual and sexual reproduction, therefore could choose between mating with a man or somehow self-pollinating.
Mm-hmm.
How would they do this? How would they self-pollinate? Did you, what?
You would, it would not always happen, but there would be cycles, and in the
Cycles?
correct, yeah.
What do you mean?
Well, like,
Lady cycles?
yeah, lady cycles.
So you knew about lady cycles, but you didn't know about...
No, I didn't necessarily know about lady cycles, but I had some kind of notion that there was a cycle, and so at a certain time, you'd wait for the right time, and then you'd eat properly, and exercise, and then you'd concentrate really hard. and then if you were very lucky...
Are you just making this up?
No, I swear to you, I thought this.
You really thought that if a woman thought really hard, she could make herself pregnant?
I hadn't figured out all the details. All I knew, I was in a biology class when all this actually
this
came
is what
out.
I was going to say.
Yeah, this all came out in a biology class, right? And we were talking about asexual reproduction in plants, and the teacher said, is there any other kind of species that does reproduce asexually? And I put up my hand and I said, yes, human beings. And everyone laughed, and I said, what's the big joke? And the teacher said, human beings. Human beings reproduce asexually, is that what you're saying? And I said, yeah. I mean, yeah. And so then it was explained to me at humiliating length that was not the case. All human reproduction was necessarily sexual. And that was a shock to me, and also just embarrassing, because I had assumed that my parents had reproduced asexually. And then, I had to go home and look my parents in the face, and I just thought, you are two absolutely revolting people. How could you have done this? I was obviously just a little bit backward about all matters sexual.
Yeah.
And
you weirdly, nowadays, of course, women can reproduce merely by... Well, you have to do a bit more than think about it.
Yeah, you have to get some turkey basting equipment and a willing participant. But, it's a shame. I still think it would be nice. I think women would agree. It would be nice if you had that option. Just to really eat right, concentrate, and then you're away.
Maybe if you ate enough jelly babies.
You reckon?
Yeah.
But then maybe you'd actually give birth to a jelly baby.
Have a jelly baby.
Man.
That might be quite sweet.
Sorry
It'd
to
be
go
handy if you were hungry.
On a little revolting tangent here for you, but I saw The Fly 2 the other day.
The Fly 2 is a very good film. Along with Amityville 2, it's one of my... and Superman 2, it's one of my favourite number 2s.
Well, that has a absolutely shocking
It's got a brilliant birth scene
at the beginning. Oh, it's
superb.
grotesque. I mean, it's
if anybody wants to come to my house and watch a triple bill of Amityville 2, what was the other one I said?
Superman
2 and The Fly 2. And while we're at it, I might stick The Exorcist 2 on as well.
Well, this
Empire
moments. Strikes Back, I guess, counts as a number 2.
It hasn't got the number 2 in the title.
Fair enough. Now, let's have some more music. This is Calvin Harris with Colours. Yeah. It's a little abrupt, the ending there.
Calvin Harris with Colours. He got angry there and left.
He's a very tall man, and tall people tend to do that.
It says here he has contributed 2 songs to the new Kylie album.
He must be very, very pleased.
Yes. Is that a good thing? Don't know. Who can tell?
She's an icon, man. People think she's one of the most important.
I've never understood it.
No, neither
I've
have
never
I.
understood it. Anyway, this is Adam and Joe on BBC Six Music. It's time to return to Song Wars.
It's time for Song Wars, the war of the songs. A couple of tunes by a couple of prongs, so check it out.
Yes, Song Wars is the segment of the show where we ask you to pick a theme, and then we both write songs on that theme, and the songs are battled against each other like a couple of musical Beatles. You kind of vote for which one you like best.
It was tough this week because not only were the lyrics not our own, the whole point of this week's one was that they were suggested by a listener, but also we didn't have as much time to create the songs as we normally would. We didn't have the full week because we're
Excuses.
we're pre-recording this show. I just finished mixing my tune, which you'll hear in a second, 5 minutes before I came into the studio.
I offer no excuses for my tune. This is the best I could possibly do.
Well, yeah. Okay.
So, have we got our caller on the line? Hello, Tony.
Hi there.
Hey, now, Tony, listeners, is the gentleman who suggested the lyrics for our songs this week. So, Tony, we asked you to come up with kind of found text, the text that would be impossible to make sound like a good lyric. Does that make sense?
Yes. I was just making some Ikea meatballs in my kitchen, quite hungover at the time when I was listening to your show, and looked down for me, and there it was. And it even had a title in bold for you. Don't know if you used it, of course, but there you go.
So it was the instructions to a packet of meatballs, and these are meatballs that you're quite familiar with. You know, you see these.
Yeah, I think there's something wrong with them. I can't seem to stop eating them. I'm not really pro or anti meatballs per se, but
you're sort of addicted to them.
Something special.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's good. So therefore, if we have imbued these words with meaning and passion, you're the man who will be able to pick up on it, right?
Well, either me or the head of Ikea, but you're probably getting a hold of me.
I think you're the man. You're the absolute ultimate arbiter of the quality of these songs.
You're Dickie Arbiter. So now, Tony, I want you to listen to, first of all, Joe's track, and tell us what you think.
Well, now, hang on. Wait. Let's let him listen to both tracks. We'll come back to you in between them, and then tell us what you think after both tracks. It's just more dramatic.
Okay.
Trust me. So here's my track, Tony. Listen carefully to this one.
Place the meatballs, place the meatballs, place those meatballs, place the meatballs, place the meatballs, place the meatballs, place those meatballs, place the meatballs. Place the meatballs in an oven-proof dish and heat at 225 degrees centigrade for about 15 minutes in a microwave at 700 watts. Place the meatballs in a bowl without a lid and heat at full power for 4 to 5 minutes. Stir after half the time. I said stir the meatballs after half the time. Come on. Place the meatballs, heat the meatballs, stir the meatballs. You love meatballs, we love meatballs. Come on, meatballs.
You're still there, Tony?
Yes.
That's a good sign. So there, I was really trying to go for some passion. I was trying to go for kind of a stadium rock feel.
I did like it. It sounded a bit like John Denver Goes Disco. It was very, very good.
John Denver Goes what?
Techno.
Goes techno.
Oh, disco. Sorry.
Goes disco. Okay, thank you very much. All right, well, with no further ado, we're going to play you Adam's track now.
This is a bit of a marathon, this track. Sorry about that. Or
It's
probably
very long.
I should call it a Snickers, maybe. But yeah, see what you think.
Okay.
Eating instructions from Frozen. Place the meatballs in an oven-proof dish and heat at 225 centigrade for about 15 minutes in a microwave at 700 watts. Place the meatballs in a bowl without a lid. Heat them at full power level After half the time, in a microwave at 700 watts. Place the meatballs in a bowl without a lid. Meatballs, meatballs, frozen, frozen. Meatballs, meatballs.
It kind of goes on. I was sort of going for a sort of New York art disco punk vibe there. You
You
know?
still there, Tony?
Yeah, I really did like that. It sounded a bit like the guy out of B-52s.
Exactly.
Ranting away there. to
Fred
himself.
Schneider.
That's the man, yes, yes.
So it's a tough choice there, Tony. You must feel like Simon Cowell having to reject one of two of his own acts at the climax of a particularly exciting episode of The X Factor, do you?
My pants aren't that tight, so no, not really.
Aren't they?
No.
Now yours is not the deciding vote, unfortunately, Tony. But
you can. He can have a major influence.
exactly, it would be interesting to see which way you're going to go.
In a way, you're a collaborator with us. You know, you're a lyricist in our respective bands.
Oh, no, Ikea have got intellectual property rights, I'm afraid.
That's true.
Yeah,
that's
that is
true,
true.
actually. Well said. So so give us more opinion there, Tony.
I think I'm going to have to go for Adams, Joe. Nice. Because I thought it was, A, the better tune, and Adam is behind at the moment.
Well, listen,
Well observed.
Tony, I wish you hadn't said that last bit, because now Joe's going to think it's all about a sympathy vote.
No, you know what? I think Adam does. I think Adam has the more
here we go.
original take on it.
Right.
I do.
It's
I
not
think
a charity vote. It's not a charity
Okay.
vote.
I was
genuinely
saying-
thought Adams was the best.
I was aiming for Stadium Rock, and I felt at the end of the day mine was a bit Deacon Bluey, and it does go out of tune very badly towards the chorus. The bit I'm happy about is the way I say 15 minutes.
Yeah.
I think I declaim that with more importance than necessary. Tony, thank you so much for proffering those lyrics.
No problem.
Thanks for listening to the show.
Yeah, we really appreciate it. Cheers, Tony. Good to talk to you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
have a lovely rest of your Saturday. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye.
Lovely Tony Armstrong there talking to us. He provided us with our song lyrics for Song Wars this week. And of course, you can vote for which track you think was the best throughout the week. You can hear those tracks on the Six Music website. If not immediately, then they will be up there in a few days' time. So next week, we'll be able to tell you which one you thought was the winning track. But right now, time for some real music. This is the king of real music, David Bowie, of course. This is in his pre-Stadium Rock days. In fact, it's the peak of his powers, more or less. 1971. Here's Bowie recording Kooks for Bob Harris on Radio 1. Enjoy. Classic stuff there. That's David Bowie singing Kooks for Bob Harris's show on Radio 1. That's in 1971 he was doing that.
Yeah, who would that have been on the bass there and singing the harmony? Do you know? Buxton, you're a Bowie expert.
Who
might that have been?
Well, it probably a Spider, I would think.
One of the Spiders.
Although I'm not sure. That
We
tests
don't
my
know.
Bowie knowledge.
Beautiful, though. There we go.
That was the first song I ever learned how to play on the guitar.
Really?
Yeah.
Wowzer.
I learned how to play that for my wife.
Bowie.
When we got married, I played that to her on our wedding day, and it was, you were there.
I was there, yes. It was very emotional.
It was very emotional. It was a sort of
emotional.
wonderful mixture of poignance. Poignance, is that a word? No, it's not, is it? Poignancy.
Yes.
And embarrassment.
Yeah.
For all concerned. Now, in just a second, I just started saying that before I even thought about what would happen in just a second. It was just a phrase I was falling back on.
In just a second. It's a very good phrase. I'll pick that up for you, Buxton, because that's the charm of the double act.
Yeah.
We're going to be playing you Rakes with We Dance Together, another band that don't have a "the." They're just Rakes, apparently. And in fact, those couple of seconds have elapsed. So here it is, Rakes.
That's the sound of the Lemonheads, of course, with If I Could Talk, I'd Tell You.
Before that, you heard a fantastic trail. Don't confuse it with modern music. It was a trail. Before that, you heard Baby Shambles with You Talk.
And, of course, if you were eagle-eared with the Baby Shambles track there, you would have heard a little cowbell opening that was an absolute rip of the beginning of Baggy Trousers by Madness. Maybe it was a conscious nod from the Delightful Junkie to to madness. I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, folks, you're listening to Adam and Joe here on BBC Six Music. We're in the final hour of our show here this Saturday afternoon. Even though, to be frankly honest with you, for us, it's Wednesday. We're pre-recording this programme because at the moment I, Adam Buxton, am making my way back from Oxford, where last night I was helping Radiohead with their webcast, which I will tell you a little bit more about next week, perhaps. And I might tell you later on in this show a little anecdote connected with that. But we need some help from you for next week's features, both Text the Nation and Song Wars. Joe, would you like to...
Thanks a lot, Adam. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's deal with those features one at a time. And let's deal with Song Wars, because we would like you listeners to send us in a subject for next week's Song Wars. And that subject is this. We'd like you to send in the name and a character profile of a close friend of yours. It could be somebody you love or someone maybe you don't like. We'd like you to tell us their name and say like 7 or 8 facts about them.
Yeah.
That we can then turn into the lyrics of a song about that friend.
Exactly, as if we knew that person and we were writing about.
You can give these songs to that friend as a special prezi.
Imagine
that.
The joy that would result in.
Adam and who? 6 what?
Yeah.
Did what? That kind of thing.
You could pretend it was Ant and Dec.
Yeah, so send in the name of the friend and some facts about them that you think might make good lyrics to adamandjoe.6music@bbc.co.uk. That's the email address. Send them in, in the next few days, because we'll be writing this song midweek next week. So send them in on the Monday or the Tuesday. And who knows, we could get you on the phone. You could be kind of helping to judge those songs next Saturday, and you could have 2 songs written by us for your best friend for nothing.
It's like a kind of pathetic service that we're providing, isn't it?
Yeah, that's the idea anyway. If no one emails in, we might have to change it. But that's the plan.
Listen, man, we could always cheat. We could just pretend that someone emailed.
This is the Big British Castle. There will be no deception of any kind.
I'm sorry.
The Big British Castle and the king of the castle, who is, what's his name?
I can't remember.
Thompson.
Is it?
Lord Thompson. He will not tolerate such scurrilous behaviour.
No, fair enough.
Yeah, so,
and then the other thing we need your help with, of course.
Hey, man. What? Let's talk about that in the next link.
Spread it all out, you mean?
Yeah, spread it all out. For instance, right now, I say we hear some Röyksopp and a track called Apple.
You're pronouncing it Apple, are you?
Apple.
I would pronounce it Apple.
Apple. Apple.
Apple. Apple.
There it is. Anyway, let's see how they pronounce it.
Apple. So he doesn't even say we get no help from the guy as far as pronunciation goes.
Call that music.
Because it's all just wibbles and wobbles.
Sounds like a computer malfunctioning.
Now, this is Adam and Joe here on BBC Six Music, and now we're going to ask for yet more help with yet another feature, next week's Text the Nation.
That's right. Next week, normal service will be resumed on Text the Nation, but we'd like you to suggest, what do we want from them?
We want you, the theme this week, or rather next week, will be, what superpowers would you like? Superpowers, basically.
Superpowers.
What would your choice of superpowers be if you could have one? Like, do you watch Heroes, Joe?
I watched a bit of Heroes, but word on the street is...
Right.
Series 2, down the lav.
Bit of a stinker.
Plummeting down the lav, so I hear.
Right. Well, that doesn't surprise me. I watched the whole of Series 1, struggled a little bit, I must say. And, watched the first episode of Series 2 and haven't bothered to return so far. Just because there's a few too many of those chaps in Heroes with powers that are just rubbish and
what
not
sort
interesting.
Of thing are you talking about?
Well, let me see. There's one woman who has a split personality. So she looks in the mirror, but the thing is that the split personalities manifest themselves in a physical way. Do you know what I mean?
So she's like a shapeshifter.
Yeah, like it's hard to describe recently.
That's a good power.
It's not as simple as being a shapeshifter, because shapeshifting is a good power. She's always herself. It's always herself, but sometimes it's her evil self, and sometimes, or not. It's not even as straightforward as it being the evil self. It's like a feisty version of herself and a regular. It's just a bit rubbish.
I'm confused.
Yeah.
What power would you have?
Well, I can't tell you this week. We're going to find out next week about all powers. But we want to know what powers you, the listeners,
and
would have.
what you would use it for.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it can be a fairly conventional superpower like flight or jumping. Or that's the only other one I could think of offhand. No, what are the classic powers? I mean, like
X-ray vision.
X-ray vision.
Flying.
Jumping. Stretching. I mean, that's a bit of a stupid power anyway. But you get the picture.
Yeah.
So, just email us. The email address once again is adamandjoe@bbc. What is it?
So wrong. Adam and Joe.
So wrong, said Joe.
Six music.
So very wrong.
At bbc.co.uk. adamandjoe.6music at bbc.co.uk. That's AND, not an ampersand, and the number 6.
Yeah. So please email us immediately with your suggestions.
Oh, boy.
We'll collect them over the week and read out the best of those next weekend.
Now it's time for a session track. This was recorded for the John Peel Show on Radio 1 on the 25th of September, 1977.
And
wow.
This is a track that features in the film Stranger Than Fiction. Don't know if you saw that. Will Ferrell in there, and there's a little bit in that film where he decides that he's going to learn how to play the guitar, and this is the song that he learns how to play.
But don't hold that against it.
It's Reckless Eric with Whole Wide World. He sounds like a girl.
I love King Creosote, and that's called Home in a Sentence. It was released on the 5th of November. And before that you heard a session track, Reckless Eric with Whole Wide World. And this has been Adam and Joe here on 6 Music on a Saturday morning.
Yeah. Now, next weekend, I will tell you a little bit more about my experience with the mighty Radiohead, with whom I was doing a little bit of work last night, as you're listening to this. And last weekend, I made the mistake of actually mentioning that I was doing this at all.
Why was that a mistake?
It was supposed to be a secret.
How are they? So you basically blew the lid on the whole thing.
Yeah.
Without asking permission.
Big mouth. Because I didn't realize no one said anything to me about it being a secret.
What were they planning?
They were planning to, go right up till about an hour before and then announce it on their website, Dead Airspace, so it would just be like a hardcore fan thing.
Right.
You know?
Instead, you announced it a week before?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
And what happened when they realised that?
Well, I guess they just had to abandon all their
because you
surprise plans.
You kind of realised that as you said it last week in the show, and I could see you looking quite sick and ill.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't planning on talking about it, but we mentioned the fact that we were going to have to pre-record this show, and then you forced me to explain why.
Okay.
And then because I just cannot lie, I simply.
That's the reason.
I can't think on my feet. Do you know what I mean?
What was their reaction? What was there? What did Tom say? Quickly.
He said it was okay. He said it wasn't the end of the world. He was nice about it.
He was nice.
You know, I mean,
they're nice. He's very angry.
They're a nice bunch of chaps.
You know, that kind of thing works in an inverse way.
Certainly, they're not going to be trusting me with too many more of their secrets, I would imagine.
There we go. This has been Adam and Joe. Thanks for listening. Thanks to everybody who texted an email during the week. We'll be back live with you at 9 a.m. next Saturday morning. Have a great week and all that sort of a business.
Yeah, cheers. Bye.
Bye.